Hello and welcome back to part 2 of me looking back on 10 years of PlayStation 4. The first video I talked about my thoughts when the system came out and when I got it and why I got it and my experience with it. And in this video I want to go through my collection, show you the games I bought, I enjoyed, I liked, and the tips and my experiences with all of these. So sit back, relax, get a nice glass of water, which I've already emptied over here, and let's look at some video games. So let's go into, like I said in the video, my first game on the system, Shovel Knight. Yes, like I said, this symbolized my reason to get a PS4. A lot of smaller indie games getting a physical release on home consoles, which wasn't really a thing in the previous console. This game is great. It was fun, challenging all the way throughout. Shovel Knight, it's a big name, one of the early Kickstarter successes, I think. And when this game came out, we were all hyped for new indie games. Nowadays, I can't really look at the NES color palette style anymore. So this is very true to the original NES, like a high definition 8-bit system graphically. And what I really enjoyed is they kept upgrading it throughout the years. I think they have like 3 or 4 add-ons for this right now, which as far as I know, I can actually download for free on the PS4 if I put this into my system. I haven't touched it in a couple of years. I know I got like the Plague Doctor add-on at one point where you could place the like Plague Knight, and I think they did a lot of other updates as well, which I think are free when you already own the copy. So I want to check that out at one point. Another reason for me to get this system were this game first, and later on this one, we had Life is Strange. 2 of my favorite games of that generation. I like the puzzle solving, and when this game came out, it's like 5 episodes. It's really cool. At the time, I was writing a bit of a short story. I tried to get into like film school and make my way as a screenwriter, which has since dissipated and I went into another direction. But I was working on a story, and the big plot twist in this one was basically directly out of my story back then. So yeah, I quite enjoyed this because I felt validated that my idea was actually a good one. So Life is Strange. What I actually prefer is Life is Strange Before the Storm. I know this game has not a lot of fans, a lot of people don't like it. Whereas this is more like supernatural, a bigger concept story. This is a lot more emotional, down to earth, like the relationship between 2 girls. And I love this game. This is the greatest. I like this a lot. My wife actually used to play the first episode of Life is Strange and didn't like it. At one point I said, okay, let us sit down and play. Actually, I replayed through this first. Or I wanted to replay it, she watched me play it. And she fell in love with Before the Storm as well. It's her favorite as well. And later on we played this together as well. So a lot of great memories of me playing these 2 games with my wife. And I got the nice limited editions to show for them. Now, Life is Strange 2 came out as well, but they pulled a Telltale and didn't put the last episode onto the disc. So I haven't played that to this day because they still haven't released a complete version of that. What is complete is Life is Strange 2 Colors, which came out last year, 2 years ago, I think. I enjoyed this one as well, but overall I don't know. It's good. It didn't blow me away like Before the Storm. This was made by Deck 9, who also made Before the Storm, whereas Life is Strange 2 was made by Don't Not, who made the first Life is Strange. So I was excited for this as a sequel to the game I enjoyed most. And I wasn't disappointed, but it didn't stick with me all the way to the end. And I was excited. I played this with my wife as well, and she said it was all right. You know, it just all right. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I just finished this. I'd never played Final Fantasy VII before. I just made a video about playing them in parallel. So I played Final Fantasy VII up until the end, where this one ends. And then I finished this one. I quite enjoyed this. This is the type of game I thought they didn't make anymore. It's an RPG, it's very true to the original when it comes to combat system. Even though it's like an action hack and slash thing, you still have the turn-based ATB system in there. You can do the like classic mode where they auto attack and you only do the magic spells and special attacks. You can play this game however you want. To this game, because there was not enough storage on one thing, and even though at the end it went into a very different direction than the original, and I prefer the original and how they handled it, I think this is a great experience to get through. Final Fantasy VII Remake, I mean, if you're interested, you already played it probably, but I was skeptical, I got it used recently and I liked it. In the end, 40 hours, it took me a bit of idle time in there. Could have been a bit shorter, like the last half of the game should have been the last quarter of the game. That's all I'm going to say. Drags out a bit in the end. Sakura Wars. This is a semi reboot, but still sequel to the Sakura Wars or Sakura Tyson series. And I bought this a bit after release, but I wanted to support the series. I'm a big fan of Sakura Wars 5 on the Wii, as we got it here. We never got the PS2 version. And I wish we finally got translations for Sakura Wars 1, 2, 3 and 4 on the Dreamcast, so I can play that. Or we get official translations of the older games. This one didn't quite reach the heights of the 5th game for me. The combat system is no longer a strategy game, it's more like a Dynasty Warrior hack and slash, but I wasn't against it, and the story overall and the character developments, like I said, never reached the heights of the older games, depending. I never played 1, 2, 3 or 5 obviously, but it's still an enjoyable ride, a lot of text to go through and very little combat, so typical Sakura Wars fashion. And lots of fun as well. I mentioned this one. I had 2 games I was excited for when this generation started. A new Mirror's Edge, a new Shenmue, and a new Beyond Good and Evil. And we got Mirror's Edge Catalyst. I was not disappointed. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I got the big collector's edition, which disappointed me because it just fell down in price. They did a big like marketing thing in that they were all like numbered limited editions. They said, okay, it's a big expensive limited edition, we are only making 1,000 copies. I'm thinking, okay, that's quite low. They got me with the like limited amount, like artificial scarcity. Turns out they made 1,000 copies in Germany. Another couple of thousand here, another couple of thousands. In the end, there were millions of copies. And it was nearly as limited as they had basically marketed it to us. And I wanted to get it. I wasn't disappointed in the game. I was disappointed in EA's marketing and the promises they made with the limited edition here. Still a great game. And I think I can spoil it at this point. Everyone should know. It ends on a cliffhanger and the sequel never came. Apparently this one didn't sell too well, which is sad. It's an enjoyable game if you can get your hands on Mirror's Edge Catalyst, completely unconnected to the original game, sadly, but still enjoyable all the way through. Here we have Ys Origin. This has a Switch release right now as well, but I have the PS4 version. This is the one of the ones I imported from probably Hong Kong. Yeah, looks like the Hong Kong version here. This is great, old PC game, Ys, you go up a tower, 3 different playable characters, 3 playthroughs. You see a bit of a different story all the way through with each of them. Great game, lots of fun, probably one of my favorite Ys games so far. If you are a fan of the newer Ys games, like 8, 7, yeah, on the PS4, you may want to check out Origins if you want to get a bit of an old school style of game. I am looking for Oath of Falgana on the PS4, on your consoles as well, because it's based on the same engine. Heavy Rain Collection, my wife and I, we got this, I got it for cheap for like 10 euros somewhere. After we finished the Life is Strange games, we wanted another adventure game, we played through Heavy Rain. Jason! It was alright. In the end, all the threads didn't tie together the way you would have hoped for a big game like this. I have big memories of the PS3 version releasing and me thinking, it looks like a movie. So now looking back at it, of course it's silly, but I remember watching gameplay clips on it on TV back then, and I was blown away. Never played the sequel Beyond Two Souls, so yeah. Sadly, none of the DLCs are included. Final Fantasy, Agito Type 0 HD, the PSP game, got an HD port for some reason. Didn't get a port to the Vita, which was weird to me. I would have thought the Vita would have been the version to get. Got the PS4 version in the Steelbook. You know, I hate Steelbooks, but what can you do? Maybe I can upgrade to the plastic case version at one point. I played it for a few hours. Wasn't really my thing. I wasn't in the mood to play a game like this at that point, but I want to go into the Final Fantasy 13 series. I got all the 3 main games here, and then Type 0 and Final Fantasy 15. I want to do that one at one point and go through the whole, what is it, Fabula Nova Crystallis series. Yakuza 0, never played it, still in the shrink wrap. I've heard it's one of the better or best games in the series. Never gave it a try. And yeah, I want to play Yakuza 6 first before I go to the prequel. I have Darksiders 2. I still have this in the shrink wrap too. Somewhere there's Darksiders 1, and I liked that one so much that I wanted to get the sequel. And I've heard it's, instead of being like a 15-20 hour game as the first one, it's a big like dungeon crawler 40-hour adventure, and I didn't feel like putting that much time into it at that point. Danganronpa, Ultimate Despair Girls, another episode, which is a spin-off, a third-person shooter spin-off of the Danganronpa series, which I played on the Vita and really enjoyed. This one, like the shooter elements are minimalistic, basic, which is what I like as well, so it's quite fun. However, a lot of pointless, super long dialogue. Like the writing in this one is not nearly as good as the mainline Danganronpa series. And in the end I thought, oh god, all the characters are talking, they're talking so much, but they're not saying anything, if you know what I mean. Oh, one of my favorites, let me get it right, Ys 8. Ys 8 on the PlayStation 4. Now, this was a Vita game ported to the PS4. I think they launched in parallel. 60 FPS, super smooth. It feels so good to play. It's so much fun. It's basically a Metroidvania at this point, which I'm not a big fan of Metroidvanias, but for some reason when it's all on a flat plane, it's a lot more fun for me. I'm a big fan of Ys 7. Again, same problem as another episode over here. The character talks so much without saying anything. I wish they could cut back on dialogue, like cut a third of it. You're not losing anything. Really, like they just talk, and without saying anything. And that's what I hate about a lot of these like newer Falcom games especially. They seem to be so proud of their writing, and it's just not that great. They're great at world building, all of that. The writing itself, it just drags on, in my opinion. I still have to play one of the newer Trails games. We have here Raiden 5 Director's Cut. I played this quite a while. It wasn't loved by the fans, but as someone who's not very big into like shooters, this one was quite fun and I enjoyed it quite a lot. I played a few hours of this. Was fun. Back when I got my arcade stick, it was fun to put this one in and enjoy it. This is my wife's. Oh, these are both my wife's games actually. Nero, never played it, but it always looked interesting. Maybe I want to check it out at one point. Final Fantasy 15, this is also my wife's. Yeah, she actually played some good games back then instead of playing League of Legends all day. Yeah, it's a French version, I'm just seeing. Okay, probably got it on sale or something at one point or very cheaply from someone. This is Edition Day 1. So this is on my list, as I said, when I do my big Final Fantasy 13 series playthrough. Tearaway, I mentioned this one in my overview video. This is one of the games that really takes advantage of the controller here. It's originally a Vita game, which really took advantage of the Vita and the touchscreens. And this one is great, it's fun, it's great. It's made by the people who made Little Big Planet. And I enjoyed this one more than the Little Big Planet games because it's not all made of, building things yourself. It's actually a story you play through. Quite a lot of fun, very nice, very cool. Here we have two games. We have Soul Hackers and Shin Megami Tensei 3, the HD port. This one, I just got them for sale recently for like €7 and €10. This one I played on the Switch. It's great, it's fun, it's hard, annoying at times because the dungeons aren't that great, but a lot more fun than playing through Shin Megami Tensei 5. The dungeons in that game, wow, put me asleep. But this one, quite a bit of fun and probably the better version to get when you want to play the 3 HD port. Soul Hackers, yeah, I haven't played it and I haven't heard great things about it. I need to play Soul Hackers 1 and, what is it, Devil's Summoner? First. I think that one got a translation on PSP. So, Soul Hackers 2 is actually the third game in the series, as far as I know. I'm not that deep into the whole Shin Megami Tensei thing. Tetris Effect, great, by the guy who made Wes, and Wes is fantastic. I love Tetris. This is great, big psychedelic, fun fest. Get Tetris Effect. It's Tetris, it's cool. Get your hands on it. Stardew Valley, I was excited for this one because I'm a big Harvest Moon or Story of Seasons fan, and people were saying, oh, this is like the next step. This is that series done right again. Back then they did the 3DS games which weren't that great, were really moving away from what made the series great. This was a step back and I disliked it. I didn't like it at all. It's just a bad port from the PC version. You have a mouse cursor in this one. How can you put a mouse cursor into a console game? You move the mouse cursor with the right stick. That ruined the entire game for me. I just have great memories of this because for some reason the German release was cancelled. And at that point I had a little holiday trip to London. So my journey was like the game released on a day where I was in London, and I went to a game store and bought this game in person in London. Quite little adventure for me to enjoy. Memories of Celceta, part of the Vita game, which I played on the Vita TV back in the day. High resolution, 60 FPS. Probably one of my favorite Ys games. I prefer the original Ys 4 on the PC Engine. This is a remake of Ys 4, by the way. And it's the basic story, but goes into, like, it does things quite differently. It's more of a modern Ys game, and I enjoy playing this, and it's lots of fun. But really, the ideas from this got perfected in Ys 8 later on. So if you want to have a smaller scale Ys 8, get Memories of Celceta. I haven't played this one yet. This is the Resident Evil 7 HD port, not the remake. Here we have the Silver Case. Oh, right here, Silver Case 2, like 25th Ward, the Silver Case. Oh, like this is an old Suda51 PlayStation 1 game, which got an HD port and a quite good one on modern consoles and PCs. I was excited that we got this. It always looked so cool on the PS1, and I had quite a bit of fun with it, playing through the different scenarios in there. And it's more of an atmospheric and great game to look at, have fun with. The story I wasn't that into, but it was still interesting. And I started the 25th Ward and enjoyed it. Haven't finished it to this day. I really need to sit down again with this one and play all the way through. BioShock Collection. The BioShock games were one of my favorites on the generation before that. I was saying back then, BioShock Infinite is basically a very good representation of that console generation in all its positives and negatives, and I stand by that. And like I wanted to play BioShock 1 again, and what really excited me, it has all the DLC. I had never played My Nervous Den, and I had never played episode 1 and 2 of the Infinite DLC. So I got to play this, I got this collection to play those, and because Infinite was quite a late game into the last generation of consoles, or the previous generations of consoles, it ran very badly. So we finally got a well-playing port of it here. Final Fantasy XII, the Zodiac Age, a port of the updated version on the PS2, which we never got. This is how I played Final Fantasy XII for the first time. Lots of fun, like the 4X mode where you run around very quickly. That's what made this game playable for me. I enjoyed putting together my party and programming them to do the right thing. And then instead of slowly running through everything, put it into fast forward and see if it works out. So it's kind of like a strategy game at that point. You know, you do Sim City, then you go to sleep, you wake up and see if your city has burnt down or not. Same thing with this one. It has an even better Switch version, I've heard, which has a 16x mode, but I played it on the PS4. 4x was plenty for me. This was super exciting for me. Air, it's a nice little indie release. We got a physical release over here by Daedalic. This was made by Forgotten Key. I have a personal story with this one. I went to Gamescom in 2013 or 14, I'm not sure. And I shared a hotel room with one of the developers, or I shared a room. I had a bed somewhere to sleep and shared a room with the developer. And he showed me like a pre-release movie and I was blown away and I was following the development. It was super great. Like to make it very simple, imagine Journey, but you're a bird and you fly around. It's fantastic. Give this one a try. There was a Switch release planned. I had a pre-ordered physical release and it got cancelled. So PS4 version is the only one I have right here. Air, Memories of Old, big recommendation, like nice little 4-hour journey to have fun. Akiba's Trip, I mentioned this one in the last video. Akiba's Trip, Undead and Undressed. I had this on the PS3 when it came out, which was, believe it or not, one of the reasons for me to get a PS3. I saw this game and that's so cool. You are a vampire, you hunt vampires. How do you find out which person is a vampire? You undress them on the street, and then when they're exposed to sunlight, they either burn or they don't. So you run throughout the city and you undress people. I sold my PS3 version in the big video game purge of, I don't know, 2021 or so. And that's actually one of the few games I regret selling. I got my hands on the PS4 version because I thought, let me upgrade, but I would really like to have the PS3 version again in the collection too. And now this one is getting an upgraded version for the Switch and extra DLC for the PS4 version. I have the Switch version on pre-order. It's on my way over here right now. It's in the mail. So sadly, I got the PS4 version and will never get to play it because I have the Switch version, which has the new DLC included. So this one will just be a nice part of the collection. Gravity, let's see. Oh, we're quite a few minutes in. Let's maybe pick up the pace. Gravity Rush Remastered, which reminds me I don't have Gravity Rush 2. I need to get that one. I played this for quite a while. It's again a port of a Vita game. And there was a period where Sony was just giving up on the Vita and released a lot of the games for the PS4 in remastered editions. I never made it all the way through. I enjoyed it, but not enough to really make my way through it. Maybe I was in a bad mood because I remember having fun, quite a bit of it, and maybe I need to revisit it and get the sequel for this as well, which came out on the PS4, and I hope it's not too hard to find nowadays. Okami HD. I played through the HD version of this. I used to play the PlayStation 2 version. That was my first version, but like I'm weird. Maybe people told me, oh, it's so beautiful. It's one of the best looking games of all time. Best. I think the interlaced PlayStation 2 image just made it muddy and ugly and I hated it. I think in the HD version here, it's stunning. it's quite good looking. I think this version looks better than the PS2 version. People may disagree, they may like the muddy interlaced video of the PlayStation 2, but Okami, great Zelda-like adventure game with a wolf, came out at the same time as the real Zelda game with a wolf back then, 2006 I think, this one. Has a Wii port, has a Switch port at this point. It overstays its welcome with a few boss fights in the end, but great game, highly recommend playing through this. Devil May Cry HD Collection, I got this for relatively cheap because I want to play these games one day, and one day I will, it's still sealed. Darksiders War Mastered Edition, I told you, I really liked this game, I wanted to play the sequel, but you know, it changes genre from game to game. The third one then was a Dark Souls clone, and the first one was a top-down shooter, I think, something like that. Really weird, and I want to check out the sequels to this at one point, because this is quite a competent Zelda-like game. Imagine Zelda combined with God of War combat, and you have a fantastic game on your hands. 2 games, I just got this one a few days ago, Star Ocean The Divine Force, and this one, Star Ocean Integrity and Faithlessness. Fantastic subtitle. I'm quite a big fan of the Star Ocean games. I have 1 and 2 on the PSP. Currently, I'm playing, I just started this 2 days ago, Star Ocean 3 on the PS2, which I'm absolutely loving, I tell you. Star Ocean 3 PS2, I love it, love it, love it, love it so far. Like 5 hours in, man, totally my thing. I love it. I saw when this one got announced, which is Star Ocean 6, and I thought it looks so janky, I need this in my life. And I got this one on sale. People really hate Star Ocean 5, which is this one, Integrity and Faithlessness. I really enjoyed it. As someone, I'm not that big into the series, even though I enjoy them. You only stay on one planet. Like the Star Ocean games were always, okay, going to different planets, environments, exploring space. This one stays on one planet. It's like a 20-hour game. It's very short. And I love it. I like my short RPGs. It has just the right amount of gameplay and fun. This is one of my favorite RPGs on the system. So I need to replay it at one point. And I think Star Ocean 6 is very high on the list of games I want to play. But I want to go through 3 and 4 first. This is a game I got for like 10 euros. I thought, let's check it out. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13, I love this. I'm not a big strategy guy, but this one is so much fun. So if you're looking for, it's not really turn-based, but you pause and you try to unify China by having the biggest army and all of that. Great game, check it out. There's 14 out. There are the Nobunaga's Ambition games out. So this series has quite a big foothold, do you say that? Footprint in the PS3 library, PS4 library. So check that out. Undertale, the physical release, this was the way I played it. I loved this game. I thought, okay, maybe the hype is too big, and it was already a big indie hit when I got my hands on this and got the physical release. But I really enjoyed it. I finished the game, and then I felt I need more. So I did the second playthrough, and then during the playthrough where you kill everyone, I got stuck with, I think, Undine the Undying. I think the boss fight was the one I got stuck at. So I never finished the last playthrough of it where you kill everyone, but still, lots of fun, great game. You can finish it in 4 or 5 hours. Great, great, great. Nier Replicant, the upgraded port of the version of Nier we never got, the PS3 version. I played the original back then. This one has a new ending which connects it more to Nier Automata, and I quite enjoyed this. This is probably, even though I enjoyed the simplicity of the original game, probably the best version to play this game. Metal Gear Solid 5, this was one of the big early games which I never picked up because I hadn't played Peace Walker at that point. And you need Peace Walker to, Peace Walker plays right before this one. I have played Peace Walker at this point and started Metal Gear Solid 5. I have to say I can't really get into it too much. I'm not feeling it. The gameplay is great, it's fine while I'm playing it, I'm having so much fun, but I never feel like going back to it. So I have to sit down and do it at one point. So I'm currently playing through the whole Metal Gear series in chronological order. I did 3, I did Peace Walker, this one is the next chronologically. So I'm playing through this as my part of playing through the Metal Gear series at the moment. It's my first playthrough, and like I said, people are saying it's so great. It is great. It's technically, like, everything is great, just not the Metal Gear I'm looking for. And of course there was the big fallout with Kojima on this one. So this was one of the earlier games that I was super interested in. Assault Suit Lanus, which was the port of the Mega Drive game? Yeah, I think the port, so an HD remake of the Mega Drive game. Little robot flying around. I remember not getting past like stage 2, and I was super frustrated, and then at one point I just got back into it and played through the entire thing, no problem. I don't know what my problem was with it at first, but this is super much fun. If you want an old school 2D shooter, get this one. Valkyria Chronicles, the HD version, what is the remastered Europa edition. This was super exciting. This one came out and I bought it because it was 20 euros brand new. It has a nice little slipcover and an art book in there, and I thought 20 euros for this? Wow, amazing, great. Got it day one. It's quite a bit of fun. As basically the spiritual sequel to the Sakura Wars games. It's quite good, but like I said, I'm not a big strategy guy. And even though I really enjoyed the strategy part in Sakura Wars 5, this approach is a bit too technical for me. I didn't play all the way through it, but I want to go back to it at one point. So this is still on the list, and while playing it, it's a great game. I enjoyed it. Final Fantasy X and X-2, which got the HD port on PS3 and then on PS4, and now it's on everything under the sun. And this is how I played 10 for the first time. Really liked it. I thought it wouldn't really be my thing, but I really like the characters, the whole story. It's fantastic, it's fun, it's great. Played. And I started X2, which I thought would be more my thing, like a silly J-pop thing. Never finished it because I didn't like the battle system too much anymore. But I want to get back to it at one point. This pile shouldn't take too long. Resident Evil Origins Collection HD part of 1 and 0. I played the first one quite a bit and enjoyed it a lot, but never finished it. Death Stranding, still in the shrink wrap. I want to play through Metal Gear Solid 5 first. Control Ultimate Edition, this is one of the big disappointments. Like, people were telling me it's super great, like the SCP inspired story. In the end, like the combat and the Metroidvania style exploration wasn't my thing. I didn't have fun with this one at all. I'm sorry, people. We have Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, basically HD ports of 1, 2, the PSP game, movie sequences of the GBA game, something like this. Like the HD ports we got separately on the PS3 in one package. My wife was a big fan of the first game. We wanted to play through it together, but I get zero enjoyment out of at least the first Kingdom Hearts. I haven't played any of the others, and I try all the time. It just, I don't know why people like this. At least the first game. Like, okay, story, I see the whole Disney thing being fun, but the gameplay is so bad. Shadow of the Colossus, the remake, fantastic game. Probably, like, this is so close to the original. This is what you remember the PS2 game looking. So, this one, high recommendation. I think Ico would have needed the remake more than Shadow of the Colossus. Shenmue 1 and 2, and let's talk about Shenmue 3, of course, as well. Finally, a modern way to play this, and it launched broken. Yeah, like black loading screens, crashes all the time. It's all patched now. It's a great collection if you play it now with all the patches, but it was a bit of a disappointment at launch. But we have a lot of features. You can play in 480p, for example, in low resolution. You can toggle HD graphics, low polygon graphics, like not low polygon, but you can choose if you wanted HD or not. They ported the lighting effects of the Xbox version to the original Shenmue. You can play it with new lighting effects, deactivate that. This is a great experience if you play it nowadays. If you want to play Shenmue, this is the version to play. I think I would just prefer to play on the Dreamcast for obvious reasons, but the HD version, super fun, super great, super good. Shenmue 3, when it came out, a lot of people hated it. I loved it. I knew what I was getting into. Every true Shenmue fan did. And those who complained just had no idea, really. It's really the case, you know. A few little things that you had to level up all your moves and everything was a bit annoying, but still, you know, a few aspects I didn't enjoy too much. But still a great game, great continuation, exactly what I wanted. I didn't want a modernized thing. I wanted a sequel to the old games. I got that with Shenmue 3. Nier Automata, a great game. I like the first playthrough. If you can't make it through the first ending, the first playthrough, I can understand that, but trust me. Second playthrough is a bit annoying because you do the same thing again. Playthrough 3 and the other endings, wow. Some of the best gaming experiences I've had in all my life. I recommend playing the original Nier first to understand it all. Digimon World. What is it? Next Order. Port of the Vita game. We never got the Vita game. It's great. You have 2 Digimons, a Tamagotchi style thing. I never finished it because my Digimon died and I didn't feel like redoing everything. I had great Digimon and then they died, and yeah, that's how it was. Kingdom Hearts 3, I got this for my wife as a Christmas present. I haven't played it and she didn't enjoy it too much as far as I know. This is also my wife's, the Ezio collection. She's a big fan of Assassin's Creed, I am not. Res Infinite, it's Res on the PS4. This is the version to get it. It's VR support. I don't have VR, so I don't care. But it's great. It's HD, it looks great. It has a new mini game like Area Zero, I think it was the name. And it's just so much fun. It's great. Res, play Res. 4 to 8, Shibuya Scramble. I made my way all the way through this, and it's one of the classics. It was a Wii game originally of visual novels, and I understand why. All the characters, super great. I was a bit annoyed that, you had to play everything with every character. I enjoyed how it all connected to each other, but I was a bit annoyed to always get stopped to a halt in the middle of a story just to pick up with another character somewhere. But you have photographs, videos instead of like anime characters. I enjoyed this. I'm always a sucker for photographs in real life, like things in games. This is my thing, visually speaking. Persona 5 Royal, haven't played it yet. When I have like 100, 200 hours at one point, I will. Yakuza Remastered Collection. I was excited for this because finally a physical release of Yakuza 5. We even got a case for the PS3 right here. And we not only got one new game, we technically got 2 new games. We have Yakuza 5, finally a physical release, only digitally on PS3 back in the day. And we got an uncensored version of Yakuza 3. They took out a lot of the hostess clubs and side missions in the original PS3 game, and I want to play through this uncensored version at one point because Yakuza 3, out of all the games I played so far, which is Yakuza 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 is my absolute favorite of these. And you have Yakuza 4 too, if you're into that. So I know it's a lot of people's favorite in this series. I just didn't enjoy it too much. So Yakuza, great HD collections. And like I said, I played through 5 when I got it. I want to go through 4 again. Through 3 again. I don't want to play 4 again. Audit Sphere. HD port of the PS2 game. Vanillaware, great game. Upgraded to a point where the combat is basically unrecognizable from the PS2 version. You can still get the PS2 combat. You can choose between the two. But I've played both and there's no reason not to play the new mode in this one. It drags a little bit in the end. You have to play through the same dungeons a little bit too much with all the different characters. but I played all the way through it. I think it took me like 50, 60 hours. Fantastic game, and as someone who was a big fan of Dragon's Crown as well, I think this one's even a little bit better than Dragon's Crown, which I want to check out. They just released Grim Grimoire, also by Vanillaware, and I want to check that one out. It's more of a strategy game. I played the demo on Switch, and that one looked like a lot of fun as well. So, that is my PlayStation 3 collection, 40 minutes. Oh my god, sorry for making the video so long, but I didn't think it would take so long. But I had a few things to say about quite a few games. I hope you enjoyed this. Do you have a few game recommendations that I should check out? You see what I'm into right now. So please leave them down in the comments. What's your favorite PS4 game? What's your favorite series on the console? And recommendations for me, for other people. I'm interested to hear. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next video.